Ladies and gentlemen, we are not in the real estate investing business. You've heard me say this a million times. What are we in? We're in the marketing business. And I'm here with Nick. I'm at a mastermind in Tampa, Florida, and we're probably the last ones here.
Yeah, we are.
My flight is way late tonight, but I wanted to get this guy on a video to talk about marketing because marketing is the most important part of the business. Everything is marketing, and marketing is everything.
Yeah.
And if you understand the importance and the power of marketing, and you can set up your marketing where it gets done for you in spite of you, well, you're gonna have an easy time doing this business, right? Because if you're like me and you try to set it all up yourself, and you try to schedule it or time block it, and you say, all right, I'll just do it, and then you're like, man, you get busy, life gets in the way. You know, you might be busy doing deals. And this happens a lot where I see students, and this happened to me. You get a property under contract, and now you're working hard to sell that deal, and you stop your marketing. You sell the deal, maybe. Sometimes deals get pushed back, they get canceled, and 3-4 months later, you finally make some money, and you turn around and your pipeline is empty. Well, it's not like a light switch that you can just turn on and leads start flooding in again. It doesn't work that way. So here's my biggest advice, if you get anything out of this video, and we're gonna talk about this in a second here. Get your marketing done for you in spite of you. That way it just happens. You don't have to think about it. And if you want to take the day off, that's fine. But now you've got leads coming in. So that's what Nick does. He's got a company called Lead Mining Pros. We did a video. You were on my podcast maybe a couple years ago.
Yeah, a year and a half probably at this point.
And you did some marketing for me.
Yeah.
I got 4 deals under contract.
Yeah.
From cold calling and texting.
Yes, sir.
And I know we did some deals. I don't remember how much revenue we made from that.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool. Because I've always believed I'm a big fan of direct mail and cold calling, right? And it's gotten harder and harder with cold calling these days and texting to figure out how to make it work. But Nick knows how to make it work. And the last thing on the earth I'm gonna do is do the cold calling myself, right? So some people, it depends on your budget. They may not have much money for direct mail. They don't wanna do the cold calling themselves. By the way, if you want to work with Nick, let me just say the link is in the description below, or you can just go to Joe. That will send you to Nick. All right, so what do you guys do at Lead Mining Pros?
So what we do is we are like a done-for-you lead generation company.
Yep.
And the number one thing is that it's important to note that there's no con. A lot of people go, is that a month? No, everything is one-off with us, which I think is a really big, a really big blessing. But what we do in some is we can pull a list and we get all of our data from DataTree, or you can supply your own.
Houses or land?
Houses or land, that's correct. And the data tree is what we use for land, and then we use CoreLogic for houses.
Okay.
So we make sure we're using the right provider for the right person. Then we skip trace it, and our skip tracing has a proven accuracy of over 85%.
Which is huge.
Yeah, and then we can also prove that to you individually on your campaign. We track that per campaign. Yeah. It's not like an old number that we stopped tracking, right?
Yeah.
Then we have American cold callers, and we call everyone up to 3 times if they don't answer the phone. And then we text message everybody once. That's just I call that an all-inclusive package. Our most popular one is called the King Kong. It's about $1,480. And in land, it averages about 20 to 60 leads on that roughly $1,500 investment.
Which is crazy, because if you look at the cost per lead normally that you get with direct mail, it depends on the campaign that you're sending and the county and the type of mail you're sending. Right. But in my experience, what I have found, cold calling and texting, especially when you do the follow-up like that you do. So it's not just one and done.
Right.
You call them 3 times and you text them.
And we text them.
So your cost per lead is going to be way less doing cold calling than it will be with direct mail.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people that are doing direct mail already, they still will hire you, right, to do the cold calling for the list that they've already mailed. Why is that?
Well, they hire me for a couple of reasons. One is speed to lead. So we all know direct mail can take 3 to 4 weeks to go out.
Yeah.
I can start within 48 hours. So one thing we've also learned is they buy the direct mail and they go, but I want it now. So I'll do the first 3-week lull and then they'll do that. And then on the flip side is, hey, I already mailed this list. Will you call and text it? And I say, absolutely. A lot of people think that because they did one marketing strategy that they don't need to do the other. And one big common misconception I've been learning recently is that market wasn't good. Well, sir, why did you say the market wasn't good? Well, I direct mailed it, I didn't get any leads. I think it is a very big mistake to judge the amount of sellers in a market through a direct mail campaign. It could be a number of things. I will say that we've never failed to get leads with calling and texting. And that's why when people tell me, they go, that wasn't a good market, judging it off your direct mail isn't the best move. I'd call them and text them, then let's have a judgment about how many leads are in that market. And so I think that's the perk of using us after the fact, especially if it didn't go well, be encouraged to use me because it's going to go well.
Oh, this is it's one of the best investments you can make in your business, marketing. Because again, like I said at the beginning, Mark, we're not in the real estate business, we're in the marketing business. I want to talk about the differences between cold calling for land, cold calling for houses.
Okay.
When we do cold calling with Nick, we get on average 3 to 4 times more leads
than houses
with land than we do with houses. Now I know the answer to that, but why? Why is that?
You know, houses is definitely getting tough. You know, and it's getting tougher. Trust me, I own a lead generation. If you're gonna listen to anybody, it's me, because I don't want that to be happening. But with land, there's a couple things. One, less saturation. Everyone's old school with land too. Everyone's talking direct mail. I'll tell you, I think as a society, we're opening up our mailboxes and we're throwing away all the colorful stuff and we're keeping all the envelopes. As a society, we're all getting there. You know, and so that's why I said don't judge by the direct mail. But everyone's doing this OG method. No one's calling them and talking to them on the phone. On top of that, we have Americans. So it's not like this foreign person is calling them. This person who speaks just like that landowner does is calling them. And the reason why that's important, so one thing I always say is, Americans for land, no questions asked. I really, even if you say you want foreign, we offer both foreign or American, but even if you say you want foreign, I really urge against it. Other people have already split tested it. Even if you put a foreign caller in, you're gonna get half as many leads or a third as many leads. Now, with houses, it's the opposite. I say you put in that foreign caller, yes. And the reason why is, if they're getting 20 calls a day, it doesn't matter what the nationality is of the caller. They're you know. But if they're getting 3 calls a day or 0 calls a day, like most land guys, the fact that it's an American, they're like, who? Who's this?
That's
what?
Cool.
Yeah, so it's actually, a lot of people go, wouldn't it be backwards if it's more saturated, putting the Americans? I understand that thought process, but I've seen the numbers on the back end. And like I said, 20 calls a day, their nationality is irrelevant. So the less they're called, the more the Americans matter.
Here's the thing, guys, you can't afford not to do cold calling. Okay, here's like, you might look at, well, cold calling costs the same as direct mail, but it really doesn't, because you're gonna get more leads from cold calling. You have to look at it as cost per lead. But it just works. It pays for itself so many times over. And I get it, you know, people are new, they don't have a huge budget, and they're like, man, I don't know. They're scared, they don't know if it work or not, right?
Skeptical.
They don't know, well, if I get a deal under contract, am I gonna be able to sell it, right? So talk about when you do the cold calling, you work with beginners and experienced investors. You know what works. And, you know whose programs work the best, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So hopefully mine is up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you recommend to new students who are just, they're trying to figure out, like, is this gonna work? What's a good budget? What should they start with doing?
Right, so on my website, the cool thing about us is 4 different sizes of everything we sell. So whether you have $500 or 7,000, I've got everything in the middle. So when people ask me, how would I pick the package that works best? The answer is whatever matches your budget and your bandwidth. A, don't give me more than you can afford. Actually, don't give anybody more than you can afford, okay? B, you'll see the lead averages. So I said that King Kong gets 20 to 60 leads. You wouldn't say, do that in 1 week, unless you did this full time and had an amazing operation. So I tell people the average person does this over a 4-week period, because you don't want 20 to 60 leads in 1 week. You want this over a 4-week period. You can get time to work that. So I think those are the big things whenever getting started to help you feel the most comfortable. And one thing I just want to touch on earlier, you said marketing that exists in spite of you. And I had a customer book a meeting with me and says, you know why I love your service so much? Because even if I don't want to do real estate today, I still get a lead. And most importantly, he would talk to me about how it fueled him. Well, I might as well call it. God, I was kind of feeling down today. And then it would really like lift him up. And it almost served as an accountability partner. I can't throw this lead away. I got to jump on this. And that's exactly what you're saying, in spite of you. Whether I'm in the mood or not, this is executing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I always say too, don't try to fix your weaknesses, outsource them.
Right, yeah.
Right? So if one of your weaknesses is picking up the phone, then get somebody to do that for you. Right? Make that call for you, because now it's a warmer lead. It's sitting there in your inbox. Somebody's already talked to them. Yeah. All right, a couple more questions here, Nicholas. When you are getting the leads, what do your VAs ask the sellers? What are some of the pre-screening questions that you find work best for vacant land?
So the intro to start is, I'm looking for the owner of the 3-acre property in Galveston, Texas. And we do that on purpose. We want to cast a wide net when identifying who we are. I don't care that I get the acreage wrong. Just say yes, we're good. Then, have you ever considered selling before? It's a very important language, right? Ever, right? Are you considering selling right this second? What a great way to get a no. Right this second, not at all, right? We want to expand the timeline. Then if they say yes to that, we ask 12 qualifying questions ranging from, is it landlocked at all? Is there legal road access? Is it wooded or cleared? Are there any utilities? Is there a survey? Do you have a survey for the property? To your knowledge, what can be built on it? We ask them if they're open to owner financing. We do not ask them how much they want to sell their property for. Okay? So I have a whole theory, which I can get into if you want, about why you don't want to ask somebody if their property is for sale.
About that.
Okay, so land is different. If this was a house game, I have Zillow. There's no Zillow for land. So the reason why super low offers don't work in houses, because they can go to Zillow and disprove you immediately. And it might not even be disproven, they just says higher. So they go with that. That doesn't exist for land. So with land, if you would simply ask them how much they want, and they're like, it's not on the MLS, why would they say a small number? Why would they? And I use this little parable that I created, which stands for short story with a tail. And that is, if I am at the grocery store and I get out of the car and some guy goes, hey, how much for the car? And I'm like, it's 60,000. It's not even worth 60,000. Yeah, well, it's not for sale. If I get out of the car and someone approaches me and says, dude, I'll give you $20,000 for that car right now. I'll think about it. Think about the change of that energy. And the same thing exists for land, which is why if you ask them how much they want, you're forcing negotiations to start here, and now you have to work your way down. What I recommend is you tell them when you get the lead, I'm gonna do some online research and send you an offer within 48 hours. Then you make them feel comfortable. When you get this offer, give me a call. I'm calling you on my cell phone. Call me right back on this line if you have any questions or concerns, or if we're close on price. What we're doing is we're prefacing the emotions. We're basically saying, if you're frustrated in any way, just call, we'll figure it out. And where that happens is you're now starting at your price and working up.
Oh, that's good.
Which is much easier than their price, because their price is gonna be way high. You're better off bringing this up 20 than this down 60. And that's exactly why I share that.
Nice. Do you have training on your website on sales and how to talk to sellers?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I don't know if you did that already.
No.
Yeah. So I actually offer a free course on my website. It says free course right at the top. And I tell them exactly what to say. It follows what I just told you guys. Exactly what to do and exactly the timeline to do it in. And I do that because I've been in business for 7 years. And it breaks my heart when someone hires me and then I meet with them, because I also meet with all my clients for free. And then they tell me all these mistakes they made. And I'm like, oh, well, let's do one more and don't make these mistakes. I made this course so you don't have to make mistakes and have me educate you and then pay again. You're now gonna do the right thing the first time.
Love it.
Very cool,
All right, one more question. Do you offer special discounts to my students?
So what I offer to your students is a bonus, right? Which that's my vibe, right? I always say, I don't wanna make less, I want you to make more. So everyone that uses the coupon code Joe McCall, one word, gets a $1 off, and then we give you 10% more. The reason why it's $1 off is so my team can identify that this is where we have to give the bonus to, right? And then we give 10% more of everything. And that's a lifetime bonus. Every time you visit my website for the rest of your life, you can put Joe McCall in. And people, some people are like, oh, can I get a discount? And like I said, you want more leads. You don't want to save $70, right? You want a 10% extra chance at a closed deal.
Good.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Exactly. Thank you.
JoeMcCall.com/lead mining, right? Or just go to leadminingpros.com and do the coupon code Joe McCall to get that. In case you didn't hear it because the door slammed, right? It was, you get a $1 off. But you get 10% more leads.
10% more, yeah, of all the deliverables.
Of the deliverables.
So for example, in the King Kong, you get 2,000 records, we give you 2,200.
Oh,
you get 3,000 dials, we give you 3,300. And so everything's added to a 10% bonus.
Awesome.
And that's a lifetime bonus too. I think that's important to know is every time you go to the website, you use it. That's huge.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, one more question. I said one more.
No,
one more again. Advice you give to beginners. Somebody's out there, they're just watching YouTube University, learning about how to do real estate. They hear us talking about cold calling. They get hives, and they're like, okay, well, that's cool. I can hire somebody else to do it. But like, what kind of advice do you give to beginners just getting started who maybe just don't know what they don't know?
So I think the main thing is attitude. And I don't want to sound cliche, so I'll make it make more sense. Don't poke holes in everything. If I give a lead to a client, I can tell the clients that look at leads with the attempt to disprove the fact that it's a lead. Okay, you're gonna find whatever you're looking for. And if you're looking for shitty leads, you're gonna find them. And if you tell yourself it's a great lead, it's gonna be a great lead. And I just would say that when you get a lead, and it's natural, when I know something and I meet someone, I try to poke holes in their stuff too. But I'm reminding you that this is not the time to poke a hole. And it's a time to say, what can I do? Could I make the call? How can I get this done? And really look at it through an optimistic lens because you're gonna try to poo-poo on it. And then when you poo-poo on it, you're gonna talk yourself into not calling them, and you're not gonna have and you're not gonna get the experience, and you're not gonna learn, and then you're gonna meet with me, and I'm gonna ask you if you did all those things, and then you're gonna pay me again, and then maybe do those things. So shortcut that, have a great attitude by not poking holes in the leads.
That's so good. Yeah.
I've learned the hard way.
I call them yeah butters. Don't be a yeah butter.
Right.
Yeah, but what about this, right? Just trust the system.
But I looked it up on the internet and just call them. I always say every lead's worth 2 to 5 minutes of your time.
Oh, that's such a huge piece of advice there too. Like don't analyze, don't even look the property up before you call them.
No.
Just call them.
Just call them.
And in fact, the reason I like doing that is because it allows you to ask more questions.
Right. To flow.
Because when you're on the phone with sellers, the more questions you ask, the more in control you are of the conversation. And the more, just the better it is. So don't do a bunch of research in advance. Just pick up the phone and call them.
Right, that's exactly right. You don't want to get in this analysis paralysis. And I always say, if they're a total asshole, hang up on them. And if it's a great call, never hang up. That's as simple as that. I'll just share one little thing, and I just love this. So one of my high-end clients was talking to me about how he trains his acquisition managers. And he says, you know what I do? And this was houses, but it's still relevant. He says, I let people say, I'm never gonna take less than $200,000 for the house. And then on the new acquisition manager shows them, but we bought it for $95,000. And he says, if the only thing we aren't aligned on is price, do not hang up the phone. Really? And that's why I say that advice. If the call's going well in any manner, do not hang up the phone. It's going well, right? Only if they're rude is it a dead lead.
So then what do you do though, if you're that far apart?
Well, that's a different story. But I think if you're that far apart, you work on the pain, right? You work on, well, what are we doing here? One thing I recommend.
Maybe there's other options you can give them.
Well, that would create a financing, stuff like that. But also one strategy I recommend when we're far off on price is getting them onto what's next. I'm glad you asked. You caught me off guard at first, but I picked it back up. Here's the reality. If I have a house for sale, or a piece of land and I'm attached to it, the more I think about it, the less I want to sell it because I'm thinking about it. But if I'm selling that piece of land to buy a new truck, and you get me thinking about that new truck smell,
there you go.
Think about that. So it's like, I think you want to get people on what's next for you. You sell this piece of land, what's next? And that's better than what are you going to do with the money? Because people hate, what are you going to do? What's in your business? So what's next?
That's good.
I just made that up on the spot.
That's really good. Write that down.
What's next after you sell this property? And then that will actually give you your purchase price. So another small story. I had a guy sell me a house in New Jersey for $45,000. This was my first real estate deal ever.
Okay.
And the way he got to that price is he wanted to bring his 4 family members to Disney World for 2 weeks. He said, Nick, I think that's gonna cost me $45,000.
Wow.
So, and he was like 70. So all he wants is experiences at this point, you know what I mean? He's like, if you can get that money in my hand, this place is yours. And that's a perfect example on what's next had a bigger priority than holding on to this thing even longer.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah. I've always asked what are you gonna do with the money?
Me too.
I gotta stop doing that.
Yeah. I literally just made that up, but that is so good, what I just said, because people always hit me with, that's none of your business, even though I still ask it.
Yeah.
You know?
What's next?
What's next?
It could be they're just gonna sit it in a savings account somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
And you could maybe see if they want to be a private investor.
Yeah. And then when you find out what's next, take it a step further, you solve for that. Right? You don't solve for the land anymore. We're not talking about the land. Well, let's get you in Malibu.
Oh yeah, what if they say, yeah, I'm gonna just put it in a savings account or whatever. You could say, well, what kind of interest are you gonna earn on that? And then you could offer owner financing.
Right.
And you know, if they,
retirement.
Yeah.
If anyone says anything like, that's a great point.
I'm not a tax advisor, but are you prepared to pay capital gains taxes?
Right. On this
that?
sale. Right.
Maybe we can like spread that out and you can get payments over time to lessen your tax burden.
Wow.
And I can make you more interest than you would have gotten. You know, so that could be an option for creative finance.
Well, that's a huge option because, hey, I can put $10,000 in your pocket today. We finance the rest out. You wanted the retirement and you wanted the truck. I got your down payment, and I got your truck payments.
Oh, that's good.
That's pretty good too.
It's listening. It's asking questions.
Right. Yeah.
And just being a nice guy.
Yeah. And then finding out their goals. Yeah. Working towards their goals, not just, we have a bad habit in sales of me. As soon as you're like them, you're gonna close more deals.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Man, I thought this was gonna be a podcast about marketing, but we talked about sales skills, negotiating. That's really good.
That's what it takes.
Yeah. This guy is a wealth of wisdom, super smart guy. Highly recommend Lead Mining Pros. I use them. I want you to as well. A lot of my clients, I'm referring people to him all the time. Who's your number one recommended affiliate?
Right, yeah, that's right.
There you go.
I told him, I said, I don't know how you're doing it. He's like, I just got you up there. And I say, if you don't want to do this yourself, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful to be there. And if you guys need anything, give me a call.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you like this video, let me know. Give me a thumbs up, comment down below the video. Let me know, like, hey, what other questions should I be asking? Should I have asked Nicholas? And what other videos would you like to see? If you'd like to see more videos about marketing and how to talk to sellers and some more of the, I don't want to say cheaper, because it makes it sound like less value, but like more alternative types of marketing that work really, really well, that not a lot of people are doing yet. Again, let me know in the comments. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button as well. And all the links will be in the description for how you can get in touch with Nick over at Lead Mining Pros. All right, appreciate you guys. We'll see you later. Thanks, man.
Thank you, brother. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.